Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome to my channel. Jumping right into today's video, today we're going to be talking all about the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette that I picked up about a month or so ago. First of all, a big thank you to all of you guys who went over to my Twitter poll I set up a couple days back and voted on which product review video you wanted me to do next. I usually do include a demo portion for every full review video that I do, but since I have a few looks that I already did using this palette, I'm just gonna go ahead and link those videos for you guys in the description box below. So if you're interested in seeing what the colors actually look like on the eyes and how I applied them, then just go ahead and click on those links. Today's video, I'm just going to be giving you guys my pros and my cons, and then I'm going to be showing you guys some swatches on my arm. The first half of this video is just going to be the review portion, and then the last half is going to be the actual swatches. So if you want to just skip right to the swatches, I will have that time stamped right here, as well as listed in the description below. Without further ado, if you would like to see this full and honest review for the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette, then just keep watching. Okay, so first of all, I want to show you guys the actual packaging that the product comes in. Here is the front of it, and it says right here, the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. And then on the back, it has all of the shadows that are included, as well as their names, and then a little bit of information about the palette as well as the ingredients. So first thing right away, when you are actually holding the product, you notice that it is very heavy, which is good because I like eyeshadow palettes that are very sturdy, very protected, because if you're like me, you tend to drop things, especially when I'm in a hurry and putting on my makeup. I'm literally the worst at this. Like, I will always drop my blushes and my highlighters and my eyeshadows. So a sturdy package is always a plus. It does have a magnetic closing. Here is what the front looks like. It does have some beveled peaches, which I thought was pretty cool. Again, Too Faced up here, and then the Sweet Peach palette logo down here. On the back, it's kind of the same thing as we saw on the packaging, where it has the ingredients and a little bit of information on there. Guys, as soon as you open this up, you can smell the peach scent right away, and I'm not gonna lie, it does smell pretty good. The lid part of the palette is, again, Too Faced Sweet Peach, and then here is the mirror. Not really a fan of how small the mirror is. I like it when the mirror is like the exact same size as the palette lid. Here are all the shadows, and as you can see, it has the names next to it, which I really like, especially when I'm doing a tutorial. It's just so easy to just reference to the shadow's name as opposed to describing the color itself. As you can see, you have your highlighting shades here, some beautiful peach shades right here, a ton of neutrals, and then you have some smoky colors like this green one down here, and then you have some plums down here, which are very beautiful. So that's kind of a little tour of the product itself. I'm just gonna jump into my pros and cons, and then I will conclude with some swatches. Okay, so starting with my pros, I actually wrote down all of my pros because I have so many of them and I didn't want to leave anything out. First pro is a little obvious, that these shadows are beautifully pigmented. I'm not gonna lie and say they're like the most bomb pigmented shadows I've ever worked with, because that's simply not true, but I feel like they are very decently pigmented. There's a beautiful color payoff, and I feel like that is consistent for each of the shades. I will say one shade, it's right here at the top, Just Peachy. This shade does take a lot of building up, for me at least, to get my desired color. All the other shadows are very beautiful. You really don't have to get much product. Just literally tapping your brush into the shadow very gently, that's gonna give you plenty of color to work with. Another pro is the amount of shadows that you get for the price. Now, obviously, this is a higher end palette. It retails for $54 from Ulta. That's where I got mine. So I did the math, and you get 18 shadows in this palette, so it comes out to about $3 for each shadow. And honestly, I think that's a pretty good deal because these shadows are higher end and you can tell the quality is there. So I definitely can justify spending that much money on this palette just because these shadows are definitely worth the hype in my opinion. Another pro is that there's a great mix of shimmers and mattes. There's about 10 shimmers and then the rest of them are mattes. So it's a pretty good ratio. All of these shimmers are not the obnoxious sparkly glitter fallout type shimmers. They're very subtle, very blendable, and you can actually mix them in with some of the matte shades to take away some of that shimmer. Another pro is that the formula is pretty consistent. All of these shadows are very buttery and creamy to the touch. The texture is really nice. They're not very dry. There's not a ton of fallout. So of course, when you're mixing and matching colors, it's gonna be easy for you to work with. You're not gonna have to work one way with this certain shadow and then work a totally different technique with another one of the shadows. Another pro, again, there's very minimal fallout with this palette, which I really love because I hate when I am working with an eyeshadow and then I just see the fallout just like pouring out. I feel like that's such a waste of money and product. So it really makes my heart happy when I see just like the littlest amount of fallout. So that is so great for this palette. Another pro I love is that all of these shadows are super blendable. It is very easy to work with. If you are someone who is newer to makeup and you want to purchase, you know, your first high-end palette, I would really highly suggest this. It's very versatile in all of the colors. There's a ton of neutrals to work with. And again, the shadows are very blendable, very easy to work with. You don't have to stress out about achieving the perfect smoky eye. My last pro is, of course, the palette and how it smells. One thing you notice right away is as soon as you open it, it smells like peaches. I actually really like that for this palette. I'm not a big scenty person. Like, I don't wear perfume all the time because I have very sensitive sinuses, so I can't really handle a ton of perfume smells. But this actually does smell good, and then it fades after a while. So if you're sitting there and applying your makeup, you're not going to really notice the smell anymore after like the first several seconds. Okay, on to cons. I really only have one con with this product. I really, really love this palette, obviously, so I don't really have much negative to say. The one thing that I wish was a little bit different is the color selection itself. Obviously, it was peach themed, so all the colors that are in this palette are colors that you find in a peach, but I just found myself very underwhelmed with the actual peach shades in this palette. Like, there's really only 2 shades, well, 3 I guess. One is like a champagne-y peach, so we have just peachy, candied peach, and Bellini. It's these 3 shades right here. Those are really the only peach shades you have in this palette, and there are 18 shadows in this whole palette, so I feel like they could have added at least 1 more, if not 2 more peach themed shades. And there's just like a ton of neutrals in this palette, which is nice because most days I, along with a ton of other makeup junkies, we like to go neutral because it goes with everything. But at the end of the day, when you're buying a palette that its theme is peach, like, you want to have a ton of peaches to work with. That's really my only complaint. I just wish there was 1 or 2 more shades that were more peach themed or more colorful colors and a little less neutrals. So yeah, that's basically all my pros and cons for this product. And if you want to see some swatches, then just keep watching. Okay guys, those were the swatches. Hope you guys liked them. Just want to let you guys know, when I went in for the swatches, I just went in and circled a few times and then swiped. I did not build them up at all. These shadows are beautifully pigmented. If you go in and use your fingers, then the warmth from your fingers is going to pick up more product. Obviously, if I swatched them with a brush, they wouldn't be quite as pigmented. So I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there for any of you guys wondering how much product I actually used for those swatches. Having said that, I want to give you guys my final thoughts, and basically, is this Too Faced Sweet Peach palette worth the hype? Is it worth the price tag? And in my humble opinion, I say 100% yes. Obviously, if you're like me and you enjoy beauty, but you're on a budget, this is definitely more of a splurge. Having said that, this is honestly one of the best purchases I've ever made. I'm so in love with this palette, as well as the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. I think those two eyeshadow palettes are probably the best eyeshadow palettes I've ever purchased since starting my makeup journey a couple years ago. Just like I mentioned earlier, with all of my pros, there are so many reasons that make this palette great, especially if you are a beginner, if you're new to playing around with makeup. This is going to make eyeshadow very fun and very playful, and you can literally go days and days creating new combinations, and this palette is going to be so great to work with. So here's where I'm starting to ramble, but I think you guys get the point. This Sweet Peach palette is definitely like a 5 stars out of 5 for me. I highly recommend it to anyone out there, whether or not you are a professional makeup artist or you are just starting out in the world of makeup. You are not going to be disappointed with this Sweet Peach palette. For those of you who have this palette, let me know in the comments what you guys thought about it. What are your pros and what were your cons? I'd love to know. If you found this video helpful, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to see more videos like this. Also, please leave me a comment down below letting me know what full review you want to see me do next. I think I'm going to either do the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. This concealer has been getting so much hype, so I feel like there are still a lot of people wondering, you know, is it really worth the hype? And then I also have the Tarte Maneater Mascara. I just picked this up about a month ago, so I definitely have some pros and cons for this. So yeah, let me know which one you want to see me do next. As always, thanks so much for stopping by. Don't forget you can follow me on my Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and Facebook. That is all Mix and Match Mel. I hope you guys have an awesome rest of the day or night, whatever time it is for you, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.